Out of the 13 southern states that formed the Confederate States of America, which one had the most impact and contributed the most to that nation? If you could choose one, that if you plucked it out, and all the other states would fold, or the Confederacy would die very quickly, which state would that be? You may be surprised, or you may not be surprised, to find out that it was the state of Virginia. In this video, we'll explore about why that is. When the Confederacy formed, it just involved South Carolina, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas. The capital was at Montgomery, Alabama. But once Virginia secedes, the capital gets moved to Richmond, Virginia. Why is that? Well, for one, it's very inspirational, because the Confederacy believed that they were doing something that the Founding Fathers had done, to break away from tyrannical government. So they saw Virginia as that symbol of rebellion and patriotism within the South, that they created their own nation, just like their founding fathers did. If you look at the seal for the Confederate States of America, you'll notice that George Washington is on there. There's a reason for that. They saw themselves as another Washington. Another reason that Virginia is so important to the Confederate war effort is that it contained over 1 million people, about 500,000 slaves, and 200,000 military-age white males, more than any other Confederate state. When the Confederate armies formed, 1/5 of those soldiers were Virginians. No other Confederate state could generate comparable troop numbers so close to the national capital. Not only did Virginia have a huge population that would contribute to the Confederate war effort, but it had industry. For instance, Virginia produced over 32% of Confederate manufactured goods. They had over 5,000 manufacturing establishments, more than any other southern state. Annual manufacturing output exceeded $50 million in 1860. Virginia's factories produced iron, which made rails and sheet iron, cannon, shot and shell, textiles, wood and cotton goods, and agricultural implements. The Tredegar Iron Works in Richmond was the South's industrial backbone, one of the largest foundries in North America. It manufactured artillery, armor plating, locomotives, rails, and munitions. Henrico County, Virginia alone produced more manufactured goods than Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, Florida, South Carolina, and Texas combined. Virginia's industrial base allowed Robert E. Lee's army to be supplied from nearby rather than relying on distant, vulnerable sources. Not only did Virginia have a huge population and industrial output, but they also had agriculture. The Shenandoah Valley was known as the breadbasket of the Confederacy because it produced wheat, corn, beef cattle, pork, tobacco, all these ingredients that helped function the government and run the economy, and many things that's important to soldiers on a battlefield and on campaign. These crops and livestock directly fed Confederate armies and the civilian population. Local mills and slaughter facilities supported rapid provisioning. Virginia possessed key mineral resources as well: iron ore, coal, lead, and copper. These mineral resources supplied Virginia's own factories and supplemented the entire Confederacy's industrial needs. The proximity of farms, mines, and factories created a self-contained logistical ecosystem around Virginia. So not only did it have a huge population, great industry, a huge agricultural production, but it also had railroads. Virginia had 1,771 miles of railroads, nearly 20% of the entire Confederate total. Crucially, its railroads were standard gauge and interconnected, a rarity in the South. There's major hubs like Richmond and Lynchburg. Rail lines allowed rapid troop movements from the Carolinas, Georgia, and other states to the Virginia front. Direct delivery of supplies to Robert E. Lee's army and other armies could be accomplished, and evacuation and redeployment during emergencies made this a wonderful situation for any Confederate army in Virginia. Virginia's Board of Public Works also built canals, turnpikes, bridges, early rail linkages. These are not wholly common in the South. They existed, but Virginia had a huge advantage. The Army of Northern Virginia, Robert E. Lee's army, relied heavily on this network. More than any other Confederate army relied on its state infrastructure. When the Confederacy moved their capital to Richmond, there was already a bureaucracy set up in Richmond. Virginia's long political tradition provided the Confederacy with experienced lawmakers, skilled bureaucrats, administrative stability. Virginia staffed much of the Confederate Congress and executive departments. The Ordnance Bureau, Treasury, and War Department especially benefited from Virginia personnel. Richmond's printing presses and newspapers made the city the communication hub of the Confederacy. Telegraph lines radiated outward from Richmond, coordinating distant theaters. Without Virginia's administrative class, the Confederacy might have remained a loose coalition rather than a functioning nation-state. And let us not forget that Virginia supplied a lot of generals to the Confederate war effort. What would the Civil War have been if it didn't have Robert E. Lee, Stonewall Jackson, A.P. Hill, Jeb Stuart, Jubal Early, Richard Ewell on the side of the Confederacy? The war would have looked vastly different. If Virginia hadn't seceded, it's most likely that those generals would not have joined the Confederacy, and many of them, if not all of them, would have stayed loyal to the Union and fought for the United States. What's important to know is that Virginia interconnected all of these aspects. All these factors that made Virginia a hub for the Confederacy were interconnected, which made it even better for the Confederacy to put their reliance and their concentration on Virginia. Manpower, manufacturing, agriculture, roads, bureaucracy, command talent, all these concentrated in Virginia. The concentration of these resources made Lee's army the best supplied and best led in the Confederacy. The Army of Northern Virginia became the symbolic and practical center of Confederate defense. Other states, especially in the West, lacked this integration, leaving Western armies chronically undersupplied and mismanaged. People often wonder why Virginia was so defended. These are the examples of why Virginia was defended: its population, its railroads, its industry, its agriculture. If you lose Virginia, you lose the war. That's why Virginia and Richmond at the very end was defended so doggedly by Robert E. Lee. They knew that if Virginia was gone out of the equation, they knew the Confederacy would wither and die. No other region had the industrial, political, or organizational capacity to continue the war independently. The Confederacy's collapse followed directly from Virginia's fall. So in conclusion, Virginia was an indispensable state for the Confederacy. Go back to April 1861, when Fort Sumter's fired upon. That sends the Upper South into the arms of the Confederacy. But if Virginia hadn't seceded, would the Upper South, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Arkansas, followed suit? We may never know, but Virginia was definitely a contributing factor, especially for states like North Carolina being so close. Virginia was the Confederacy's most populous state, its industrial leader, center of transportation, political capital, provider of elite military commanders. Without Virginia's contributions, the Confederacy wouldn't have been able to function administratively, supply armies, move troops, feed soldiers, sustain a national military strategy for a long period of time, or as long as it did. And in some respects, the Confederacy began with Virginia's secession and effectively ended when Virginia fell. I'm Dr. Lucas Wilder. This is History Gone Wilder, and I'll see you next time.